everyone that Fall Festival and homecoming activities are going on this weekend in Wellington, starting Thursday. The parade is at 6, I believe, and the homecoming game, of course, on Friday. And then all the festivities for the Fall Festival start about 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. There is a fun run, which, if that's fun to you. But the other thing I want to say is that there are 8 class reunions that are going to be in town this weekend. So we'll have a lot of visitors. We'll have a lot of people coming back home. And certainly I hope we put our best foot forward and remember to treat everyone as if they were family. All right. Friends, class of 86, right, Kevin?
There you go.
All right. We're excited. We won't say how many years, though. All right. That does it for mayor and council. Anybody else? Anything? All right. So we have a Memorial Auditorium board vacancy that we just had a work session on. Carol, is there anything you want to fill us in on that?
No, the vacancy occurred in middle of September, and we tried to take applications through the 30th, but there were no new ones, but we were able to use the 5 that did not make it the first round. So we have 5 to consider, and just need a motion on your choice.
All right. Do I have said motion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes,
I
sir.
would like to, a motion on the floor, put Mr. Zavala in there in that vacancy.
All right. I have a motion to appoint Mr. Pete Zavala.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we appoint Mr. Pete Zavala to the Memorial Auditorium board vacancy. Just a voice vote is fine. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right.
And you might add, Mayor, if I may, for the viewing public, I mean, or that may not be aware, you did just have a work session at 6 o'clock before this meeting where you, the purpose was to review those applications and discuss. You had several of those applicants present. So just for the viewing public that's not aware of that, we did just have a work session to review that.
Right. And yes, thank you, Mr. Shields. And Mr. Zavala was in attendance, and he has given a lot to the Memorial Auditorium and wants to continue to do so. So, all right. Number 2 up is our Chamber of Commerce projects. Mr. Shields, I'm going to let you lead us on this.
This is, again, follow-up from a work session of last week. One of the topics was the chamber projects. One of those, I mean, N of HWY is here this evening.
Anna Rose, you want to just step up to the podium?
Sure. The kiosk was the main topic to really get started on, and that's the purpose of this meeting. We met today to discuss some of the final plans. We did confirm that ADA requirements, are involved with that, so we confirmed that. And we met today to discuss those final plans. So I think we have a plan, and certainly Anna Rose can contribute any other details. And then if you wish to give authority to proceed with that, we're ready to do so.
Okay.
It's a great meeting, good conversation. This is, the first of several projects, but this is going to be a great opportunity for us to involve our high school, just to remind everyone in the viewing public that we'll build this kiosk, and we'll work with the Public Works Department, and then we'll continue to refine some of the other ideas that were brought up at that work session for future projects. And we appreciate this opportunity to put a visitor information kiosk in Wellington.
So we need to give you permission to have the Antlers lot? Is that
We have authority to place a information kiosk on the Antlers lot.
Okay.
We did discuss today, we probably will place it temporarily in some temporary basis, so we can, as we discussed at that work session, developing a more detailed plan for that entire lot.
Right.
So we don't want to place it permanently
Right.
at this moment, so we may place it temporary, but that's what we would need is a motion to authorize the placement of that informational kiosk there.
Okay. Anyone want to make that motion?
So moved.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and give permission to the chamber We're authorized the chamber to use the Antlers lot, which is at 7th and Washington, is that right? To put an informational visitors kiosk and develop that whole area, so.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Now you can say thank you.
Thank you. I need to read Robert's rules.
It's okay.
It's been
No.
since high school.
No, I know. No, we are just excited that you're going to take that on, and I think that with some landscaping, and I mean, I think it can really look nice and is much needed, so thank you. All right, we have no public hearings, we have no ordinances, we just have a couple of resolutions. So our first resolution tonight is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an interlocal contract agreement between the city of Wellington and the Houston-Galveston Area Council for cooperative purchasing. Mr. Shields, you want to explain that one?
This is brought to us by Chief Hay. This is as you read, a cooperative purchasing agreement with that council. Chief Hay can provide some details. A couple other cities are members of this. I mean, Attorney Brown has reviewed the contract and has approved it in its wording. It does provide us maybe some cost savings, which Chief Hay maybe can provide some additional details.
It's a contract that not only the fire department can use, but all city departments. So this is just another resource for the city to look for a better deal on some items, maybe save some time because things are pre-bid already. So it's just another resource for the city to use.
Is it unusual that it's so far away?
No, it's just it's a big compact, so they reach out throughout the United States, and there's others around the United States too. This was
That's a good one.
And this mainly came to your attention because you're beginning to prepare the specs on the ambulance purchase that was approved for 2017. So that's why it came to your attention.
correct.
Oh, very good. All right, anybody have any questions or comments?
I think basically what Shane just asked, I was going to ask if you have any specific projects or purchases and what kind of savings you're potentially looking at.
Yeah, we're definitely going to take a look at it as if we can use it or not.
What, do you have any ideas of what kind of savings that other entities have seen with using this?
No, I don't know the exact numbers. No.
Yeah, the two agencies you referenced,
Parsons and Winfield.
Winfield had purchased a truck,
Ambulance,
ambulance, and Parsons also.
they purchase fire trucks.
Okay.
Is it for big equipment or?
It's mainly big equipment, yes. It's big items, mostly apparatus, different things for public works, police cars, et cetera. So it has a lot of different things in there.
So not supplies and wires and?
No, it's more bigger items.
Okay. You're not sharing bandages or anything?
No,
Okay,
not yet.
right on. All right, anybody else have any other questions, comments?
There's no fees associated with it?
Yes, there is a fee. There's a $1,000 fee to that group when you make the purchase.
So you don't pay a fee unless you use it?
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah. It's just a contract now that we can get in there and take a look at things some more closely. You get in there right now, if you guys want to look at it, you can see some general items, and you can see, but you can't get all the specifications and the add-on, et cetera, things like that that you need to look at.
So what you're telling me is that we approve this today, there's no cost associated with this, but if and when you do purchase an item through this, we would be sending them an additional $1,000 in
Correct.
addition to it.
Correct.
But obviously you'd be looking to see if there's the total savings, the net, there's still
Right.
a net savings.
Right.
Ah. All right, any other?
Is that $1,000 per item purchased or is it for a period of time?
Well, I understand per item.
Yeah, the contract itself is on an annual basis.
But you don't have to purchase anything.
No, it's just another resource for us.
Have you had experience with this before, this type of thing?
No, I'm not with them, no.
Jeremy?
No, I've heard of a few, but never used one.
Makes sense.
No, I think.
Yeah, it's worth looking into. Yeah.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, work.
who comes up with $1,000 should there be a purchase? Where does it come out of? You come out of 324, just come out of your fund, the fire department.
Deferred change.
I must have missed something.
I would say I would come out of the capital purchase. I mean, it would be considered part of the capital purchase at that point in time. The 325 fund,
Okay, fine.
or 324, I mean, whichever one the analyst was budgeted for, if that's what it's used for. I mean, it would be associated with whatever the purchase is for.
Thank you.
Hoping the savings is more than 1,000 and more than pay for itself. So,
Right.
right. All right.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I move we approve this contract.
All right. Can I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution to authorize the city manager to execute this interlocal contract agreement. Madam Clerk, will you please do a roll call?
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Mrs. Hawley?
Yes.
Mrs. Courtney?
Yes.
6 affirmative votes for Resolution 5773.
All right. Our next resolution is to authorize the city manager to sign an operation agreement with Sumner County Rural Water District Number 1 of Sumner County, Kansas, in the city of Wellington for maintenance flushing on the hydrant located 1/2 mile north of Highway 160 on Woodlawn in Oxford, Kansas. So,
This, as the memo explains to you from Mr. Newberry regarding the hydrant flushing agreement, this simply provides an agreement with Rural Water District 1. There are times where there's the need to flush the system, obviously, and times also that would be beneficial for Rural Water District 1 to flush their system. So this provides the means, I mean, the method of how we do that and can go about that. If we're flushing, obviously, because of our need, it's not billed to the Rural Water District system. I mean, if it's flushing because of their need, then it would still be billed to them. That's basically what the agreement addresses. So, again, Mr. Brown has reviewed this agreement also and has approved it as to its form. So.
okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Do I have a motion? Everybody's really quiet.
Madam Mayor, I move we approve this resolution.
All right. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution authorizing the city manager to sign this agreement with Sumner County Rural Water District Number 1 and the city for the flushing of the hydrant. Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Mrs. Hawley?
Yes.
Mrs. Courtney?
Yes.
6 affirmative votes for Resolution 5774.
Okay. All right, we have no study items this evening, but we do have some future agenda items. Mr. Shield, do you want to address some of those with us?
Well, I have several items to update you on. One, I might mention, I don't believe you mentioned it, Mayor, at the beginning. Mr. Brown is not here tonight. He was diagnosed today with pneumonia. He has doctor orders to stay home for a week, so that's why he is not present this evening. First update to provide you is the airport runway project. This probably will necessitate a work session be considered for next week. The status of that airport runway project, if you recall, the FAA indicated to us through Mr. Hamlin that project probably would not occur in 2017 because they didn't have funding. About 10 days ago, he received notice from the FAA, hey, we do have funding available and we can do this project in 2017. Do you want to proceed? If you don't wish to proceed, the money will go to somewhere else in the region and it will be delayed further. So that's the word we got last week. We're reviewing our options. The total project is about $2.8 million. Our cost would be approximately $220,000. If you recall, the overall project includes the sewer, redoing the sewer at the airport, getting rid of the lagoons, which KDHE has indicated we need to consider that in the very near future. So the whole project, if you recall, was certainly a positive in the overall picture of things. So we certainly, I think if we can proceed, we need to.
Right.
We've had some discussions with the state, KDOT, regarding whether they might have funding available to assist in that 220,000 amount. They have given us some information on that. That's why I think we would be beneficial perhaps to have a work session next week to discuss the final details that we gather, and then be able to make a decision on the 16th. The FAA has indicated probably the 16th would still be a date within their timeline that would work for them to hold and proceed with our project if that's what we wish to do. And I don't know if Mr. Wetta, Airport Board, if you know any other details that I haven't elaborated on that would be helpful, but I believe that's the basics.
I don't have any other information other than talking to Patrick. If we don't do this, we probably won't ever do it.
And the other issue is if we don't do it now, it would probably put it out at least a couple more years, which would then, the environmental study that, if you remember, we did 2 or 3 years ago, and received a grant for, it would make that invalid because of the timeline. So we would have to do a new environmental study. Whether there would be grant funds available for that, I guess that's an unknown. But
Well, the economic development impact, the growth to the north would be, I think, tremendous as well, so.
And this is a thing that you can hardly pass up. But by the same token, we all know that we've got the raw water issue, which is in the hundreds of thousands. And we've got the Westborough is in the hundreds of thousands. At some point, we're going to have to do some creative financing, or we're going to have to do something because, and everybody wants to do it right now.
Right.
The KDHE, we don't have any choice. We got to do something, and it's going to cost money. And the airport, we got to make a decision now, or it's gone.
Right.
This is the quandary we're in.
And another reminder, the sewer portion of the project was going to be a $600,000 cost. I mean, with the FAA grant, that's a 90%, 10%. So our cost is $60,000 to accomplish the, putting in the sewer and alleviating the lagoons.
Such a
Does
great
that-
deal.
Does that, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
does that, will that alleviate any of the pump stations that are out there?
I believe one pump station would still be required if those plans have been around now for a couple of years. And I believe,
So isn't there 2 already, or is it 3?
well, we have the lagoons out there now. I mean, there is no sewer out to the airport. I mean,
There's not.
But
we have the lagoon.
I think when I looked through it, this does do away with at least 1 or 2 lift stations?
It should, I
Which would
won't
also
give you a 100%
equate in-
answer right now.
Right, but if it
certainly
does,
should.
it would also, that would be an additional savings, ongoing cost,
Right.
excuse me, that would be saved.
Right.
And I also, when reading through that, read that for them to include, the FAA being them, to include and fund this is pretty out of the norm.
Correct. I mean, that was my understanding. I wasn't involved in those discussions, but that's my understanding of it.
Shane, a question. I'm with Vince totally. If we don't do this on the airport, the chances of us ever doing it probably are very, very slim. With all these other projects we have going, what are our limitations on general obligation bonds? Can we do a bond to do more than one of these projects, or do they have to be separate bonds?
You can combine them. I mean, the city has prior to my times, but I know some of those have been combined. But again, though, some of these are utility projects. I mean, utility funding, I mean, the raw water issue, I mean, that we kind of, planned on the possibility of doing that. So that's covered in the utility fund. The airport would be a general obligation if that's what we do. I mean, we need to finalize what the state may have available. I mean, so is it going to be a 220,000 or a smaller number? That's what we need to kind of confirm this week with them, what their initial answer was, and then come to a conclusion of what we can do and what can't do.
What did they say? What did the state say?
Initially, they asked Mr. Hamlin to, submit an out-of-cycle grant request. The next day or a couple of days later, they indicated, well, we're not going to grant that entire amount, but we might have some dollars to put forward
Right.
towards the project at no interest. But we want to see what the city wants to do, can do. So we need to finalize those options, and then that's what you guys need to have all the information on to make the final decision.
The director of aviation was very optimistic when I spoke with him at the air show about this project and wanting to be involved as from a state standpoint. Now, whether they have money to back that up is a whole different ballgame. So, but I know that the director of aviation, when he was here for the air show, was very, very optimistic and positive about this project. So, Mr. Eder?
I wanted to go back just for a second. I don't think we could probably have the numbers, but maybe it'll surprise me. I know just since I've sat on the council with regards to bonds and stuff like that, through refinancing, we've been restructuring our debt. We have saved the city, I mean, if my memory serves me correctly, we're talking upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Is that correct?
Yes, I can't give you the exact number, but certainly the one bond issue last year we refinanced. I mean, certainly there was a savings.
Right.
So yes,
I think we've done it a couple different times.
Yes.
So I'm just, wanted to bring that back up, that while this, like some of us up here have said, is we may have to look at taking on some additional debt. The council in the same breath has also restructured debt and saved, hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest in doing that, so.
This is Courtney.
Have you ever received any information from the people out in Westborough about whether they're willing to do a percentage or?
Well, the direction of the council, the direction I understood from the council was to determine the cost on the two different options, the 5% option and then the 10% option. We have those numbers from Mr. Haas. John Haas has provided us those breakdowns. We have some questions. I mean, we have looked at the plans. I mean, basically we followed in 2012, what was prepared in 2012. We have some questions with some of the lots of how the cost was determined. We're trying to finalize that. That could very well be another topic for the work session, to provide you those final numbers and what it would cost, I mean, for the city portion, levy-wise, bond and interest levy-wise, and then what the cost per property would be involved for the Westborough parcel.
Okay, so but there would have to be, for it to be a bond issue, there'd have to be some kind of an assessment.
Correct,
Is that
yes. Correct.
And that 10%, that was including them
Cost
plus interest.
Correct.
Them
Yes.
paying the interest portion.
Yep. So, that was my number 3 update to you. So we covered that. Let's cover number 2 update, which may create another need for a work session. So let's cover it too, and then we can talk about a work session perhaps. Update number 2 is on the raw water issue. We just received the draft consent order from KDHE yesterday. Just received it yesterday. We're reviewing that to see what they have made changes to it, what they're asking to make changes. So that could very well be a topic for the work session once we conclude what they have changed. And October 16th potentially could be a date that you agree or approve that consent order. Again, not that that's an absolute deadline, because their indication is as long as we're negotiating, they're not concerned. But we did just receive their draft back yesterday, so that is another topic of
Okay, raw
further
water,
discussion.
airport, gotcha, make it a list. What else?
Well, that would be the 3.
Oh, hold on, Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Well, as long as we're talking and we have to talk about all these issues. And if we're going to do this in the work session, why don't we talk about creative financing or Jennifer bond or whatever we're going to do? Can we include that if we're going to try to put all this together? If we're going to try to do, and how long if we do this, which is, I don't see any other way of accomplishing these expensive goals without doing something like this. How many years would we normally, would it be 20 years, or what are we talking about?
Well, the Westborough, the options prepared right now are based on a 15-year and a 20-year timeline.
But we have the money for that in the budget.
For Westborough, no.
No, we don't.
No.
We're all water. We got the raw water.
Raw water, yes, correct.
And we have a little more appropriated than we may have. Will we have maybe a little left?
Yes. I mean, you potentially have, I mean, we prepared the budget with raw water possibility, and, based upon the estimated, I mean, obviously,
Right.
until we have a final,
Right.
cost, but.
So we could have possibly around 100,000 or 50,000 or somewhere.
Maybe around 50,000.
Okay, 50. So if we're talking about, what are we talking about? Somewhere around 350?
350 to 380, I
In the
believe.
west, yeah, to 4, but let's say 350.
Or Westborough, I'm sorry.
Yeah, west.
Yes.
So there's 300. The airport's 220. So we're talking upwards of $500,000.
Yes, I
If
mean,
we put
Westborough,
these things together.
Westborough again would be a separate issue because it's going to be special assessed. Part of it has to be special assessed. It would be a separate issue. The airport, that remains an option, but until we kind of confirm what the state options may be, these three, certainly if the opportunity arises that we can combine them, certainly it's something we need to look at. But it may not be necessary in this instance to combine all three of these.
But however we do it, we're looking at in the neighborhood of over $500,000.
For the total
That we
cost
don't-
of
that
the
we haven't
project, I mean,
appropriated.
yes.
What you do is, the Westborough project has to be a bond issue, and they have to accept some type of assessment in order for it to be a bond issue. I don't see how we could do that without it being a bond issue. The raw water is taken care of out of the utility fund, because there's money there in the utility fund. If it's like 350,000, if we have to build a line. And if the state can help us with the airport, then there's probably enough money in the general fund
Right.
for the airport to take that out.
Mr. Valentine?
Since we're talking a bond issue, wouldn't it be advisable to have Mr. Carls here? If it would be possible to have him in the work session? And would he have
Yes.
access to all this knowledge?
Well, he's provided the information on the Westborough. He's already gathered that. We're also talking to bond counsel, Mr. Cowan, on a couple of details involving the parcel lots and how they were split out. Certainly, we've been in touch with him. He is off this week. I'm not sure if he's available next week. I mean, he was here a week, gone a week, and then off a week again. So I'm not sure his schedule, but I mean, if the need is for a bond issue, yes. I mean, Westborough, we have consulted with him, and that's where we're going. But as Mrs. Cordy just said, there may not be the need in the other areas.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any discussion? Mr. Wetta?
Well, I've been thinking about this for a week, and it really boils down to, are we going to strive to grow our city and the possibility of things to come out in the East Corridor? Or are we going to accept and just go with the fact that we're going to be a small town and eventually not have the resources, not have the quality of life that we've been grown accustomed to in Wellington? That basically is the decision that we're going to have. It's going to have to enter into this. Just like the runway, you think of it, I catch flack from a lot of people, that's just benefiting a few people. Well, that's really not you gotta look at the whole picture. Haven't we already lost some corporations or some companies that have left because of this issue, the runway? If it boils down to what kind of city do we want to be? And it's a tough decision, and it's a lot of money. And this is what we're talking about, creative finances. I don't know how we could put it together, but if there's any way, I don't want to pay higher taxes. I'm on fixed income, been retired 10 years, starting to catch up now. The cost of living, you know, I've heard about this my whole life, and now we're in it. But I'm probably rambling, but these are the things that we have to address, and it boils down to what kind of city we want to be. That's what it boils down to me.
Very good. Mr. Henry?
Just to touch base on one of the points you brought up with regards to the airport. To the best of my knowledge, we have lost, it's been identified to be two different corporations in this town due to the length or lack thereof of our airport. Every time that a jet is landed on an airport, it's recorded with regards to how long the airport is, how wide it is, how safe it is, yada, yada, yada. And every time a site selector or a company looks at our town for potential growth or potentially putting something in, if they have a corporate jet, that is a big part of their decision because it affects their insurance. Their insurance asks, how many times did you land on a runway that was so short or so long or whatever, and it gets dinged, and so they do absolutely look at the length of the runway, and so, you know, that airport absolutely benefits more people than just a few, and in addition to that, it also provides a business opportunity on a micro scale for Mr. Hamlin with regards to if he's got a longer runway, he can then land jets that may or may not want to come into that airport because of they didn't want to get dinged on the airport to buy more fuel. So it does benefit more than just a select people that actually physically use the airport.
All right, Mrs. Cordy?
I think that we need to concentrate on making this a good town for the people who live here. Because, you know, they're the ones that are paying the taxes. And if we do that, then other people would want to come. And we should not lose track of the fact that building that sewer out to the airport is, I mean, that's a big benefit because it's not only the airport, it's everything between here and the airport, or the city limits and the airport. So, you know, that's why the Humane Society couldn't use the place that they originally had planned, is because of the sewer. So,
We charge those businesses a higher fee as it is already.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes, I agree.
it's all part of economic development, and I think everybody up here wants to see us grow. If not, we probably shouldn't be in this position. So it's just going to be some decisions and some just figuring everything out. So, and speaking of the airport, and I failed to mention it, for anyone who was out at the air tour, it was tremendous, and kudos to Patrick Hamlin. I don't think he gets near enough credit, and certainly Rick helps out too. But they put on one heck of a show, and as a matter of fact, I had a pilot send me an email that said, "Thank you so much. It was enjoyable to fly into Wellington and see the band and the kids from the school, and overall just a tremendous turnout from the community. This doesn't just happen, and everyone involved needs a pat on the back and a big thank you." And that was from a gentleman who was one of the pilots that came from like the Medicine Lodge, Pratt, Kansas area. That's just huge, and so we should be very proud of our airport, and hopefully we can make it bigger and better. All right, Shane, what else? What else do you have for us?
Well, a work session for those purposes perhaps next week. The other update was to mention the CDBG housing application site visit. Kansas Department of Commerce will conduct a site visit next Wednesday, October 12th, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m.
Is the meeting here?
Yes, the meeting will be here at the City Hall. They have indicated they will arrive early prior to that time to view and walk a portion of the area. Now,
Right.
they, will have contact with them closer to that date, whether they intend on doing that on their own or they're going to meet with us first. But that's what the letter indicated, that that's next Wednesday at 1:30 to 2:30 is their site visit.
Here in the City Hall chambers. Now, is that mandatory for everyone to be there?
No.
Okay.
No,
I mean, I plan on being there.
I think just some of the main members, I mean, any member of certainly of the community that wishes to be there certainly are welcome.
Right, absolutely.
Anna Rose, and I believe
Stacy.
Stacy Davis are going to be present, so yes, I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Lincoln Place building, no other update on that. Tried to send a contact to the insurance adjuster today just to inquire if there had been are they any near a determination of the payout, and no reply from that insurance company. The property owner has somewhat kept in touch with us. I mean, last contact was last week from him. They had not received anything from the insurance company, so no other update on that.
I guess there's some additional bowing of the wall that has been noticed, or,
Not anything I've been informed of, but
okay, have you noticed it?
It looks bigger to me, but then maybe I just know where to look at.
I do too.
Okay. We just want it resolved.
other than that, that's all I have, other than to mention the LKM conference this coming weekend. Of course, I will be attending that through the afternoon of Monday, so.
As will I, so.
I have no other updates.
Okay. Mr. Whitman?
Has anyone gone out to the Mylan, so I've tried to get on the website, if it's down or whatever, can you just go out there?
Yeah, you can just go. you can
Tomorrow's
just
the
go
last
there.
day, right?
Mhm. I think the only thing, if you just show up, they might have to confirm your liability. I think you check a box online when you register to go onto a tour, because you do have to walk up some scaffolding that's,
So if I
don't
went
wear
out
anything
there
that
at
can
10
snag on scaffolding.
So if you go out there at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, you can probably go.
Yeah, and there's actually also
Anna
a,
Rose, if you use them.
oh, sorry. I'm sorry, keep going. There's also there's a public viewing area, so there's the slip form tours is what we're talking about for MKC. They did them yesterday, today, and they're doing them tomorrow. They're doing them tonight till 8 o'clock, and I believe they're going till 8 o'clock tomorrow as well. But there's also a paved, or there's a gravel area that you can actually just drive into the project and look from afar without driving all the way up to the project. And that's like, you could park your car and just look at how massive it is. And people are welcome to do that. You know, please don't go at 2 in the morning. But, you know, people are welcome to do that. They are pouring 24/7. So they're pouring this concrete 24/7. It's going up an inch every 4 minutes. So it's a little over a foot every hour. But it's pretty impressive. They've got 120 people working
So
12-hour shifts.
some people may not understand, how many, talk about the tonnage and the amount of wheat that they can load in a minute and all this stuff, that the reason we're gonna go, that we wanna go see this.
Yeah, so they're pouring it's an 8-pack. There's an 8-pack, and then there's going to be 3 other giant columns, so they're pouring the
Silos.
8-piece of it, silos. Yeah, yes, for those of you who do not know agricultural terms. But anyway, so they're pouring the 8-pack right now of the silos. They're going to have over 4 million bushel capacity in a flat storage area that's basically like, I guess imagine like an airplane runway that has huge concrete walls to keep the grain backed up in. That's it's flat storage in addition to this 8-pack and this 3 silo piece. But they're pouring an amazing amount of concrete. I don't remember these terms. I didn't realize I was gonna have a quiz over the PowerPoint that I watched. But when you go sign up for this tour, you get to talk with someone for about 10-15 minutes. They walk you through all the numbers. They can load a train. Is it of 100 cars in 5 hours?
110 maybe.
Oh, what is it?
110 car train in 8 hours.
Yeah, okay, 110 car train in 8 hours, which is phenomenally fast. I mean, this is way fast. They're using some of the most up-to-date technology as far as that is. They have 2 automated scales They have a really long driveway loop, semis obviously have, they turn differently than a small car does. So they've got, that's going on. The rail thing that they're building, that's, they're not laying that track right now. They won't do that, to my knowledge, until after these silos have been up. But they're working with at least 5 really large corporations or subcontractors that are making this project happen, which is a $40 million investment. That does not include their intentions with their chemical storage facility that they'll be building, and probably more like in 2018, is what I've heard. And so they will be opening up their facility for canola, which is a really big deal. The closest canola plant that operates is in Goodland. One of our businesses in town hauls there quite frequently for some of our canola growers in town. So canola won't be on rail because we'd have to have like 300,000 some acres of canola to pull a train. I can't remember I asked them that question, but anyway, so recap is you can go out there. They like to have people sign up online, but there's a big white tent that you'll draw towards. There's parking signs, but if you aren't able to go and have an hour-long tour, there is that public viewing area where it's kind of like when you look at the mountains on a scenic tour. This is our scenery, this elevator. So I highly recommend it. So just stop on out there tomorrow and meet some of their people. And they've been very hospitable and stimulating the Wellington economy quite a lot.
Yes.
So we're very appreciative of that.
And that's why I brought it up. It's helping Wellington. And the railroads don't go out and get grain anymore. We don't go out to Milan, Mayfield, Blackwell, wherever, and get grain. It's brought into places like this. And then the railroad doesn't hook on to them unless they got 110 cars. And then it's going to Houston, Los Angeles, China, wherever.
Mexico. A lot of corn's going to Mexico.
But this is why this facility being in Sumner County is a big deal.
They did 2 huge surveys or economic surveys to prove why they wanted to come here to, and our elevators are still going to be able to benefit from it, a lot of our local elevators. So this is not, MPC is not coming and all the other ones are closing. Everyone's still staying open. So that's an important thing to keep in mind too. But we've got a lot of brown dots on the map. We're still the wheat capital of the world. Woo! I keep checking with the Kansas Wheat Association. So it's been ever since Mr. Stewart in 1900 made us the wheat capital of the world. It's in our downtown historic district papers even. So we're keeping it up. So.
All right. Did I cover everything on Fall Festival you wanted me to cover?
Yes, yeah. We have 45 craft vendors, which is a huge increase than what we had last year.
Wow.
That's why we filled in that last minute street closing request, was because we have so many people that are coming. So we're very much looking forward to it. And I'd echo what you said about the class reunions. We're going ahead and trying to get the contacts for next year's class reunions as well, so we can get them information ahead of time, because next year's homecoming is actually October 21st. Homecoming is the 20th, but Fall Festival will be the 21st, so that's a little bit different than usually. We've been the kind of first weekend in October, but that's not how it's scheduled. So, and Pep Rally is right after the parade on Thursday. It's the only other thing, and it's in Heritage Park.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
ma'am. All right. Shane, anything else?
Other than scheduling a work session.
All right. What day is everybody looking at? What is today? For God's sake, the 4th.
I can't be here until Thursday.
You can wait down back on Monday.
Okay, so it sounds like
How long do
What
we
was your
have?
date?
Could we have it before the next meeting like this one, or did we have? Is it something that's got?
Jan will be back on the 17th.
Yeah.
There's too much.
So
There's
we'll
too
have it
much,
on the
yeah.
17th.
No, I probably won't be back in town till midnight, so
Oh.
I'm not coming to.
Oh, okay. Never
You said, what was
mind.
your date, KDOT, or what was the date?
The 18th,
The
I believe I said the 16th, but the meeting date would be the 18th, yeah.
Okay. So you need it before the 18th.
That would be certainly the
Ideal.
indication that day, yes.
And Monday, the 10th? You will not be here?
I will be coming back
So 1, 2, 3 people out.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 11th? Does that sound good?
Yes, you will be.
Tuesday, the 11th? Okay.
6 o'clock.
I'm gonna have Jeff next week, early part of the week. I'll be back probably Wednesday night.
Okay.
Can we set it up where you can tell, or whoever's gonna be absent can telephonically?
Sure.
Or Ms. Hawley said she will be gone, or she has a meeting at 6 o'clock on Tuesday though.
Oh.
Come later, come.
How long does it meeting last?
Thursday, the 13th, and then you leave. Everybody's gone.
What about Wednesday the 12th?
It is your tour.
That's my holiday.
Anybody have any issues? Columbus Day?
Can't do it the 17th?
June.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Where are
You
you
do it
leaving,
without
Jan?
me. I leave the 8th and I come back the 17th.
Oh, so Jan's gonna be gone
I'll be
regardless.
gone all the
Oh, yeah,
So
you're
if we had it on
gone.
the
Oh, well, never
17th, then
mind.
everybody could be here but Jan.
Right,
And if she
okay.
wanted to join telephonically, we can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I can't.
So the 17th at 6 o'clock? 5:30? 5:30 is early.
6, of course.
6 is better. Is that better? Well, 6, is 6 better for you, Jim? Okay, we'll do 6 then. So that's on October 17th. Okay, at 6 o'clock. Work session extraordinaire, covering topics such as airport project, raw water, and Westborough Roads. Is that gonna be too tight there, Shane, or?
Just plan on being there till
No, I
9:30.
think it would be fine.
Okay.
Just give you the final details, and then the key, the most important key out of all three of those is the airport runway project, and
Right.
being able to give the FAA an answer that we want to proceed.
Right, okay. Okay, well, and hopefully in the meantime, we can get some financial information
Correct.
to get us in the right direction, so, all right. Anybody else have anything else? Anybody else have anything? Oh, that was very silly. Anyone? Nothing? All right, do I have a motion?
Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting of the Wellington City Council. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We are adjourned.
Yeah.